Hello, everybody. So I want to start by apologizing for my congestion. May make it a little difficult to understand some of my words. Also, for any times that I need to pause to wipe my nose and any blood that you may see coming out of my nose and on the gauze. But there's not much I can do about it right now. I wanted to put out a video blog to go along with my regular blogging that I'm doing about some sinus surgeries that I just had done. I've been dealing with recurrent sinus infections for years, pretty horrible postnasal drip on a daily basis for about 7 years that chokes me at times. And sinus pressure and dental pain. Back in December, I got a sinus infection that took antibiotics and about 4 weeks to get over. And then in February, I got another sinus infection that took pretty strong antibiotics and prednisone and then Medrol dose pack to finally get over it. And it took about 6 weeks to get over. And then in March, I ended up with dental pain again and sinus pressure again, and this time a headache that went across my forehead here and right here at the bridge of my nose. So I went back to the doctor and assumed that it was the sinus infection from February that just had not cleared up completely. But I was diagnosed again with a sinus infection and told it was time to go to see an allergist, immunologist, and then an ear, nose, and throat doctor to try to get to the bottom of not only why I keep getting sinus infections, but why it takes so long for my body to fight the infection once I have it. So I went to the allergist immunologist first, and he tested for allergens using the drop test on my back, and then the one on my arm as well, where they put drops of different allergens on your skin and then or put drops on your skin and then inject different allergens to see how your body will react to any allergen. So everything was ruled out except for a mild allergen to dust bites and then some mild allergens regarding weeds outside. So I was offered allergy shots weekly or to try to get it under control if I wanted to do that, and I did do that as a child, so I believe that's why it was offered again. But I didn't want to go that route if not necessary, and so I decided to hold off until I saw the ear, nose, and throat doctor. Saw the ear, nose, and throat doctor the following week, and he did a nasal endoscopy and told me that my septum was severely deviated, blocking my left nasal passage, and that the turbinates were extremely inflamed, and that was blocking my left passage as well, and blocking my right one pretty considerably also. So he wanted me to try Nasonex steroid nasal spray. I had already been on that though for 2 weeks because of being sick, and so I asked him if we could do it for a shorter time than normal because I had already been on it for 2 weeks. So he asked me to do it for 3 more weeks and then come back for a CT scan and a follow-up appointment with him. So I did the Nasonex, 2 sprays in each nostril twice a day, and was taking ibuprofen daily at this point for the headache that just would not go away. It was 6 weeks of this headache. I would get some relief at times, but it was every day. So it was pretty frustrating, and I was dealing with a lot of pressure under my eyes right here and at the bridge right here, and then the dental pain which is always my sign that I have a sinus infection. When I came back to see him for the follow-up appointment and the CT scan, that was today's Monday, so that was Thursday before last, and the CT scan, of course, showed this deviated septum that I wasn't even aware I had, and the severely inflamed turbinates, and it also showed some blockage in my maxillary sinus, which explains the dental pain. He said that because the nasal sprays were not helping and other things that I had been trying over the years, and more specifically since December, have not helped, that the recommendation was surgery. And he went over all of the risks and side effects of surgery and also the prognosis, how he thought it may help. He felt very confident that he could decrease my recovery time when I get a sinus infection. He also felt he could help with the sinus pressure that I was having, and he was hopeful that he could help with the headaches and the postnasal drip. So I elected to go ahead and schedule surgery and thought that I would have some time to think about it between the date I scheduled and when I actually went in for surgery. So I scheduled on Thursday. That was at the end of April of 2017. And this surgery was scheduled for August the 7th. That was going to be a little over 3 months out. I wasn't very happy about that. I was pretty frustrated, actually, because I didn't want to deal with what I had been feeling all summer long. And it didn't seem like the headache was going to clear up on its own. So I did schedule for August 7th and asked to be put on the cancellation list. I left the office, and less than 3 hours later, I got a phone call that there had been a cancellation for surgery for the following Monday, so 4 days later. And did I want that slot? So after a lot of praying and just thinking about things, I decided to go ahead with surgery for that Monday. I didn't want to have to chance not getting in on another cancellation and being stuck feeling the way I was until August. So I was not allowed to be on any ibuprofen, Aleve, aspirin, or anything that could thin the blood to try to minimize bleeding during surgery and after. So at this point, I was dealing with this headache with no medication. I did finally take Tylenol on Sunday to try to help it some, but I really was trying to avoid any medications that were unnecessary leading up to the surgery. I was not allowed to eat or drink anything after midnight on Sunday night, and I was fine with not eating. Not drinking water was hard for me because I deal with a pretty severe dry mouth on a regular basis. But I sucked it up and dealt with it, and showed up at the surgery center on Monday. That was a week ago today. And got ready and pre-op. And I talked to the doctors about my only main concern, which was my neck. I've had major surgeries on my neck, something called a C1 through C7 laminectomy with no fusion, so I don't have any stability in the back of my neck. So it concerned me a lot, the thought of going into surgery and being intubated, and the doctors manipulating my neck and maybe not being aware of how sensitive it is. So I just stress the importance of being very careful with my neck, which they all assured me they would be, and then off to surgery I went. So I was put under anesthesia. I wasn't really nervous at all. I was actually looking forward to anesthesia so I could get some rest. I had not been sleeping well because of the headaches. So even though I know anesthesia is not really a restful sleep, I was just kind of happy to be going to sleep. Um, I woke up after the surgery, and the only thing on my mind was my neck pain. My neck was in a lot of pain. Before I went into surgery, my sinus symptoms were around a 3 or a 4 on the pain scale, 1 to 10, but my neck was about a 6.5. When I came out of surgery, my neck was around an 8 to an 8.5. And I really wasn't worried at all about the sinus pain because my neck was just hurting so badly. So the doctors and the nurses gave me a lot of pain medications to try to deal with that. And once they got the pain back down to about a 6, which is what it was before the operation, I was released. So after the surgery, they put a gauze under my nose. It's just a square gauze. This one has some blood on it, sorry. But it's a square gauze like this, and it was tri-folded and then put in this nasal dressing holder. And these hooks go on the ear like that and over to the other side and hook. And I had to wear that for the first, I'd say, 3 or 4 days. It irritates your ears because your ears aren't used to having something rub on the back of them, but it is necessary. I was changing these dressings every 45 minutes or so. And when I would take one off, it would be drenched in blood. And while I was waiting on Zach to hand me a new one, I had to sit with the other one under my nose to catch blood that was just profusely dripping from my nose. It ended up all over the front of my nightgown and on my sheets and all over my lip. It was just crazy how much blood was coming out. Uh, I have to sleep elevated and have since the day of the surgery. How you see me sitting right now is pretty much how I sleep, except I positioned this purple pillow right here a little bit further down under my neck, and then I have this awesome neck pillow that does not have a thick back on it. So this is the pillow, and the sides are thick to keep my head from flopping one way or the other. But the back of it, where it would rest on the back of my neck, is thin, which I love because all you pillows that I've ever tried are thick all the way around, and the thickness in the back pushes my neck forward, and I can't deal with it. It doesn't feel good at all. So I put that neck pillow around my neck at night, and I sleep sitting up like I am right now. That's meant to help with any kind of congestion, uh, dripping back, and just congesting you more from being in a flat position. If you can stay elevated after the surgery, it is supposed to help some with congestion, although at this point I don't think anything's helping my congestion. Um, Another thing is chapstick because I can't breathe through my nose at all. I'm dealing with pretty dry lips and dry mouth, and so I have chapstick right next to me on the bed, and have my water constantly filled up and trying to drink to keep my mouth lubricated. But at night, the dry mouth can be such a problem. I kind of just stumbled across a good solution for me, and that was because I was resting on the first night and had a cough drop in my mouth to deal with my sore throat from the intubation tube. Uh, and I fell asleep with the cough drop under my tongue, and I didn't have dry mouth. And so it kind of just gave me the idea to try sleeping with a cough drop in my mouth, which I've done every night with no problems, no concern about choking. I am sitting up. But I put the cough drop under my tongue or between my cheek and my tooth or cheek of my teeth, and it kind of holds it in place, and I just sleep like that, and I don't wake up with dry mouth at all. So if you're gonna have this surgery, I highly recommend that little tip. uh, Another thing that I have that's worked well for me is this. It's kind of like a life alert that you used to see on TV commercials, but this one is synced in with my home alarm system. And so all I have to do is program in a phone number that I want the alarm company to call if I press the button. And so anytime I've needed someone to come help me with something, or hand me something or bring me something from the kitchen, I just press that button and it calls Zach and he comes running. So that's been really nice to have also. Uh, the dental pain has been pretty severe for me. The nerve that controls the front four teeth, as well as the lip and the front of the roof of the mouth, that nerve runs through the septum. And so, for some people, depending on the surgeries you've had done, it can affect them more severely than others. And I've been one of those lucky ones that it's affected pretty severely. I'm 7 days out from my surgery and still having difficulty talking. Today is a better day than all of the others so far, but it is still painful. I can't smile at this point, it's too painful, and I still cannot eat solid foods. I have been eating things like yogurt and pudding and ice cream and soup. Um, I did eat some pasta last night, but I kind of just shove it to the back of my mouth and chew with my molars because I can't bear down really with the front of my mouth right now. So the dental pain and the lip pain has definitely been a struggle on top of everything else. As far as pain in my sinuses or headaches, the only time that a headache has been excruciating was on the third night, and I think that it was from severe congestion and blood clots stuck up in my this area of my nasal cavity and up into my sinuses, and it was a headache worse than a migraine. It was to the point that it scared me, and we were considering going to the ER if it did not subside. Um, but I took medication, Tylenol, my pain medication, and then a different pain medication that I have on a regular basis for my back, and just turned off the lights and tried to rest. And I did get through that without having to go to the hospital, thank goodness. Overall, I've felt very flu-like, feel like I have a constant temperature throughout my body. I feel a lot of disgusting tasting mucus like you feel when you get very sick, that's kind of just sitting in my nose and the back of my throat. I am hacking up blood clots regularly every day. Um, I cannot get my nose cleared on either side at this point, and it's been a week. I do have splits in my nose that have ports in them that are supposed to allow me to be able to irrigate my nose, but everything is so congested and blocked, it's very difficult to get anything moving at this point. I do irrigate my nose more than 15 times a day. I had read that if you could do it every hour, that would be good. So pretty much anytime I get up, I do go ahead and squirt saline into my nose to try to keep everything moist, so that I'm not dealing with dried blood when it's time to remove the splits. I get to go have the splits removed tomorrow, finally. I'm very happy about that and kind of counting down the hours. It's 4 o'clock now. I get to go at 9:50 in the morning, and I'm so ready to have the splits removed. I'm so concerned about the possibility of infection, and if I'm not infected, I am still concerned about the congestion and the level of congestion that I have a week out from surgery. I cannot see up into my right nostril at all. It's completely blocked with blood and yellow mucus. The right side of my face hurts more, into my teeth right here and the roof of my mouth. The left side is blocked as well, but I can see a little bit of the split and the port, but it is fully yellow mucus as well. So I don't know if that's typical for this surgery or if I have an infection, but I have been on cephalexin antibiotics since the day of my surgery. I was also given anti-nausea medication, which I have not had to use at all, and I was given Percocet for pain. So I have been in the bed for every day, just taking it easy, kind of binge watching Netflix, and just really trying to give my body a chance to heal. And I'll go in the morning and get the splits removed, and hopefully hear good news that I'm not dealing with an infection, and I really just hope to get some relief after the splits are removed tomorrow, and hope that I can start using a neti pot to try to irrigate some of this crud out of my nose quicker. Um, so yeah, I think that I've covered everything for the most part. There may be some stuff that I've missed. Feel free to ask any questions that you have. Um, I will blog again on video as well as my normal blog um, once I get the splits removed, and try to give an update and cover anything else that I forgot. But for now, I think I've covered enough, and hopefully next time you see me, I won't be so swollen in my nose and so congested. Until next time.